everybody, what is going on? We're going to do a highly requested video from you guys about getting a Strat tone, what I do to dial in a Strat tone. And one thing before we get going too far into this, I've had a bunch of comments from people saying that they keep getting unsubscribed from my channel whenever they haven't unsubscribed. So if you want to, just check and make sure you are subscribed. Sorry, I try not to do the whole subscribe thing all the time, but I keep seeing these comments pop up and I was like, oh, I don't know, maybe YouTube is unsubscribing people. So check that out if you want to. But today we're going to talk about how I kind of go about dialing in a Strat tone. It's a very similar process on all guitars, Les Paul, Strat, Tele. Obviously I kind of play to their strengths a little bit more. For the signal path today, I'm just going out of my Strat into the Axe Effects. I have a 2XL, so I don't know, they're on like Axe Effects 1000 now probably. And essentially what I have here is, it's called a 65 bass guy, and that is obviously a bassman. Now for the cab, which is kind of interesting, it's a 3x10. This is just what it was set on. I could change it to something a little bit different if I wanted to, but I'll just leave it like this because a lot of times I'm not super picky about that kind of stuff. I do tend to prefer 2x12s over 4x12s, but we'll just leave it. No, maybe we won't. Let's see, what do I want to change this to? What would be a good one? Let's just go with a... So I changed my mind. I am going to change it to a 2x12, and it's just a Pro Verb mix. Don't know what that means, but it's a 2x12. So you're getting a little more of that high end. Now I like to dial in a bright tone. You know, this is what I always, when people ask me about dialing in a tone, I dial in a pretty bright tone, and what this is just something that has happened over the years. I rely a lot more on the tone knobs of the guitar, because what I found is if you have a tone that's too dark and your tone knobs are all the way up, you can't make it any brighter other than, I mean, you could pick close to the bridge and stuff like that, but that's literally changing the tone of just the delivery of the note. You know, it sounds different. So maybe that's not a sound you're going for. So like I said, I like to dial in a tone that's actually a little bit too bright, and then if I want the brightness, like for a solo or something, I can roll my tone knob up, get the brightness, but it's one of those things, it's like, you know, if it's not already there, you can't, just add brightness all of a sudden unless you have some kind of configuration, or at least that's the way I look at it. So that's my overall tone. Now pretty much everything is at noon right now. The presence is all the way up. I'm going to change all this stuff. Now, like I said, I guess the treble wasn't at noon either. The treble, this is pretty much where I normally have it. The mids, I don't like tons of mid. I like a pretty good mid, but not like tons and tons of it. And I actually like a decent amount of bass in my tone. Because before I start adding distortion and all those kinds of things, I like to have a little bit of a tone. I like the tone to be pushed a little bit, so you can see the input drive. Now I'm going to push this a little bit more, and there we go. Now, since I turned that drive up, I'm actually going to turn the bass down now. I got a little bit of flubby. Here, it's like if I really dig in, it's breaking up. But I have my tone knob right now all the way on 10. But that's the thing. I don't necessarily go for that crystal clean clear. I just think most pedals sound better with a little bit of breakup on them, and just in general, like I can roll my volume down, and you can get a much cleaner sound. Like to me, that's pretty dang clean if I roll my volume knob up. You hear that breakup start happening, and actually, I'm going to turn my master volume down because I think I might be clipping. Anyways, I'm getting all sidetracked. Now the next part for me is adding your drive sound in here. Now for me, what I like, I have it set to an 808 right now, but I'm actually going to do something a little bit different, and I'm going to use a fuzz tone for this. So I'm going to switch this to, you can't see it because I realized my capture box is too far, but a fuzz face. And I think a fuzz and a Strat, they sound so good together. I don't necessarily go for that real over-the-top fuzz sound. I just like the way the fuzz is a really dark tone sometimes, and then the Strat just melds so well with it. So that's a little bit too much for what I'm going for this one. Doing a little bit more, but I think what I need to do, I need to get rid of some of this bass. I'm actually going to push this a little bit more. I'm gonna add a little more treble, because like I said, I like it to be a little bit too bright, and I'll use my guitar to turn that down, because right now my tone knobs are all the way on 10. So that's a little bit too bitey. I'll turn this down. Now really where, to me, the Strat tone comes alive, for me personally, is the reverb and the delay. That takes the tone to a whole nother level, because like this, I still don't really like this. I'm just trying to get that basis of what it is. Now, when I start adding the reverb, that's where everything really changes. I like, that's set to large hall. I prefer either a large or medium room. I just love the way the room reverb sound. And that's too much. I might go medium room. Oh, that's the medium plate. Plate's cool too. I have a pedal, the Ethereal from Wampler uses a plate reverb, which I've always really liked as well. And I'm going to change the mix down a little bit. That's a lot of reverb. Now my volume's all the way up, and it's starting to me, the tone's coming alive now. Now that's still pretty bright. Now what happens is, I think fuzz works really, really well with your bridge pickup, especially. Because your bridge is so bright on a Strat. Now, on mine I have it wired a little bit differently. So I have my back tone here, the bottom one, wired to both my middle and my bridge pickup. So I can get some of those highs out of there. Again, like I said, bright tone, get rid of the highs if you don't want them. With your guitar, you don't need to mess with pedals and all that stuff. See, to me that's sounding good. And if I want to solo, I would kick it up. Again, rhythm, a little bit too bright. And one of the coolest things with just fuzz, I know I'm not using an actual pedal, I'm using the SKYPE, but there's this amazing tone when you roll your volume knob down, and you have this kind of... It's something about the way it behaves differently than like a distortion does. Now, the final piece of the puzzle for me is really delay, and I might mess around, it depends on how long this video is. I might do a clean tone as well, and show you how I would incorporate some chorus and all that stuff. But the delay is just the icing on the cake for that. Now, the cool thing about the SKYPE is you have stereo delays and stuff, but if you're not, I don't have it hooked up, so I can't do it. But I like a stereo tape delay. So you can see there's lots of options here: ping pong, analog, stereo. I just like stereo tape for some reason. Now, getting the timing right is, an individual thing. For me, I like a couple of repeats on my delay, but I don't like it to get in the way of the notes. Now, it all depends on what guitar you're playing, because I play this, the Strat a little bit differently. I tend to be more melodic on a Strat. Okay, so that's pretty good actually where it was. I think what I'm wanting is it's not in the mix a whole lot, but I want to pick it down a little bit. It's a really strong delay. I prefer a stronger reverb over a stronger delay. See how I can get the brightness in there now? to me overall, that's like a totally usable tone. Now rhythmically, if I was recording rhythm guitars, I would get rid of the delay and probably have significantly less reverb. This could still be a really usable tone. Kind of fat right there, and then. And the solo would kick in. I'd roll my volume up all the way up, and then. Maybe even have the lead kicked up a little bit more, get some more grit in there. Let me just kind of see it where it goes. I really. See how even on that bright bridge pickup it kind of works. I have it rolled down a little bit now, but and even if I wanted to go straight distortion, so like that was a fuzz face, but a lot of times I typically use an 808 overdrive. Is what if you want that more traditional, to me like Strat, quack, and brightness. The fuzz kind of gets rid of that a little bit. But the standard kind of like I said, the 808 on here puts it all back in there. Maybe not that much distortion. Now here you see everything's set like this. Again, I want the treble up. For this particular one, I want the bass down. I want the mids down a little bit. I want the mids back up. So again, very bright. Roll my tone down a little bit. See, now that's a good rhythm tone. I can hear it right there. Yeah, I dig that a lot. And like I said, and you can get more crazy with it. Like I said, get some more delay in there if you want. So there you have it. And that's just kind of it. So if there's any other questions, you guys can throw them down below if you want to, but that's pretty much how I go about dialing in a tone. You saw everything on here. Hopefully you saw everything if the screen capture worked. Whoever even knows. So on that, guys, I will see you all later. Make sure you are subscribed if you don't mind, and I will just catch you all in the next video. Bye, guys. Whoop.